Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, sickness. No, don't like that. First trimester, go to your doctor, complain about the morning sickness, the throwing up every day. And they're going to assure you that your baby's perfectly healthy. You're not harming your baby. You're healthy. They might even tell you that it's a sign of a healthy pregnancy, which is not true, by the way. They're going to give you some pretty basic stomach upset remedies, nothing to actually prevent the morning sickness, and probably not giving an explanation of what morning sickness even really is. And the remedies they give you are actually not good for you during pregnancy. Crackers, toast, Gatorade, the carbonated water, maybe ginger ale, those are not good for you anytime, especially not when you're pregnant. Okay, so back to that it's a sign of a healthy pregnancy or that your baby isn't harmful. Of course it is. It's not. No, that's not true. You're growing a little teeny human inside your body who needs additional nutrients, additional calories, additional food, and you're not able to eat because you have nausea and you're throwing up the things that you do eat, and then the doctor's telling you to eat these really nutrient lacking foods like bread and crackers and sweet sugary drinks. What medical advice is that? That's horrible. A couple of things about morning sickness. There's no primal reason for us to get it. There's no health benefits. There's nothing in our history. It does not go back throughout history, the throwing up. It doesn't happen in all cultures across the world. It's really only in first world countries, the number one being the United States. Well, why is that? It's a dietary issue. We eat a ton of processed foods and sugar, unhealthy eating habits in general here in the US, and this is causing our morning sickness. Let me first talk about the difference between morning sickness and food aversions. Morning sickness is when you're waking up, throwing up throughout the day, or just know like I can't eat anything or I'm going to throw up, or it's going to make me feel really sick. It's hard for some women to function. The severity varies from person to person and from pregnancy to pregnancy. Some women have had abortions because their sickness is so severe. Some women will not have more kids because their sickness was so severe the first time. It's a serious issue for some people. It's not a rite of passage. It's not something that you have to go through or that you need to go through or that has any benefit to you. Food aversions, they're typically against meat, dairy products, eggs, and what that is our primal brains not knowing that we have a food from the grocery store that's been FDA inspected, that we come home and refrigerate it, that we are able to wash our hands before eating meat, that we have a meat thermometer to cook it to the proper temperature. In the first trimester, the basic outline of our baby's major organs form, and contaminated meat or dairy can contain certain bacteria that's very harmful to that process. So during the first trimester, we do have this instinct to it wants us to avoid meat and dairy, anything that could have, anything that could be contaminated and harm the baby. Just the protein and fat from those foods are really important, but it's more important not to ruin your baby. So that actually is an instinct. Food aversions are something that a lot of people experience. And there's also other things going on. Your stomach acid is a little bit different. It's lower, so it's harder, or maybe it's higher. It's different than usual. It's harder for you to digest meats. Anyways, you also might have like a hungover feeling. That dehydration is a contributor to that. I find it easier to drink water with lemon or citrus, maybe with some fruit, like a sweet fruit like berries added in. That balances out your stomach acid, and it's easier to drink, so you can stay hydrated. Remember, if you're pregnant, you're dehydrated. You're growing a human being that's 75% water. You're 75% water yourself, and you're using all this extra energy to grow that little person, you're dehydrated. You need to be drinking water. That's going to get rid of that hungover feeling. It's going to help bounce your stomach acid to prevent those food aversions a little bit better so you can get through your day. It's also going to counteract your fatigue. Back to the morning sickness. If you're getting morning sickness, it's probably a sign of an unhealthy gut bacteria, which was probably there before you got pregnant. But because of all the hormone changes and the stomach acid levels I just mentioned, the poor gut bacteria or the lack of good gut bacteria is going to cause more issues, like physically getting sick. So to balance out your good gut bacteria, the first thing you need to do is stop eating things that are bad for you. Do not eat that toast and those crackers. Do not drink that Gatorade. Any processed food, in general, you want to stay away from sugar. Sugar from fruit is a little bit different, not fruit juice, but if you're eating a whole piece of fruit and you're getting the fiber, you can digest it properly and together. Just avoid processed foods in general. Granola bars, crackers, bread, toast, pasta. It may go down really easily, but it doesn't do anything for your gut bacteria. It's not going to help your nausea. It's not going to change the duration of it. It's not preventing it. It's just making it worse. And then to eat more probiotic foods. Sauerkraut is a great one. Raw, you have to eat a raw sauerkraut. Don't cook the sauerkraut. Raw sauerkraut. Kombucha is the good one, which they sell in a lot of grocery stores now. Or if you live somewhere with a farmer's market, they'll definitely have kombucha and sauerkraut. Pickled vegetables. That if you know someone who actually pickles vegetables, not pickles that you buy on the shelf from the store, because those are just cucumbers that are soaked in vinegar. It's not the same thing. They're not they don't have the probiotic fermentation value like if you pickled it yourself. Another good one is yogurt. Everywhere yogurt's available. You can't buy the yogurt with flavorings and sugar added to it though, because that defeats the purpose. You have to buy plain yogurt or kefir, which is the yogurt. Anything, you use it to make a smoothie with strawberries or like a natural berry if you need it, some flavors. And I know plain yogurt isn't the most desirable. Yogurt's also great for you because it has protein in it. So if you're having trouble eating meat and eggs, it's a really good way to get your protein and calcium and some other nutrients for you. Another good one to try is bone broth, which isn't a probiotic, but it's good for your gut health in general. It has a ton of collagen, which helps keep everything together, and it's good to help build your baby. And it has a little bit of protein. It is pretty available now in grocery stores. You can also make it yourself. There's a ton of recipes online, but it's not just regular chicken or beef broth. It has to be bone broth. It's made from the bone marrow and the collagen. It's a different process. It's a good one, and it actually goes down really easy if you don't feel good, like if you have some stomach issues going on. And then another thing to remember is to keep going, keep up this avoiding sugar and processed foods and eating these fermented foods and foods that are good for your gut health even after the morning sickness stops. Like if it slows down in your second and third trimester, because your gut bacteria, if you have a healthy gut, you're gonna, or if you have it, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, you're passing that on to your baby when your baby's born, and that's your baby's first immune system. So if you have a really unhealthy microbiome, and then you give that to your baby is more likely to get sick in the beginning before they have vaccines, or maybe they'll react poorly to their vaccines if and when you're doing that, or just in general, you're giving your baby this little starter pack from yourself, so you want to be as healthy as you can. So keep this up throughout the third trimester up until you have your baby, and then keep going because it'll help you feel better in general. And then lastly, I'm just going to say hydration again because it's so important. And infused waters really do help. I don't care what fruits you put in your water, whatever helps it go down. Or try eating like more watermelon and grapefruit, cucumbers, really juicy juicy fruits and vegetables because they'll help hydrate you if you're having trouble drinking water. But water is important. It's important. It's so important, especially when you're pregnant. You are dehydrated. I don't care how much you're drinking, you're dehydrated. And it's really going to help, not just with the morning sickness, but with you name the issue in pregnancy, hydration will help. All right, so drink water. Drink water, drink water. Avoid processed foods and sugar, and eat more probiotic foods. That's it. That's your morning sickness. You do not have to suffer through it. You can have an awesome first trimester. All right, knowledge bitches. Bye.